Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Talk. Well, joining me today is a woman that could say wears probably many different hats. She's a business owner. She owns MYBC Consulting. She's a community builder as well as a business relationship strategist. I'm sure there's other things too. Anyway, time to meet Jeanette Martin. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nancy. And I have one other business. I have shoplangley.com as well,
What is
which
that?
is it's a searchable platform where businesses located in the Langleys, both Langley City and the Township of Langley, can
Okay.
add their business for free. And if they need some extra services, such as email, making coupons, newsletters, there's different things in there as well. So that's another business that I have when you talk about my many hats.
Let's start with my BC Consulting. When did you start that?
April 1st, 2014. Started at the tender age of 50, and next week I'll be turning 62. Excuse me, you're the first to talk to, so I've got a little bit of a croaky voice this morning. So thank you so much for having me today. So I started it back after working for a lot of the big business company, or as they like to say, corporate Canada, or corporate US, is worked for Sears and Eaton's and Dalmy's in fashion and in hardwood floor. Like, always chosen to work for the best and being trained by the best and showing up for the best. And I thought, who's showing up for the small box retailer?
Hmm.
And I wanted to take my big box training and help the small box retailer where I shop, where I support, where I help to help them think a bit bigger.
I just have to ask now, with what's happening with the tariffs, has that changed at all?
Actually, yes, it has. The different conversations that I've been having with people, the small producers that were able to ship up to $1,400, sorry, not $1,400, $400
Mhm.
across the line without having any, kind of worries.
Mhm.
I have one lady who makes stickers, makes these beautiful motivational stickers, has an Etsy store, and she went to send something across the line, and I think she said she sent $20 or $40 worth of stickers, and it cost her an extra $10.
Right.
And it's just crazy. That little bit adds up. It
Yeah.
definitely adds up. And also the opportunities to take your product across the line now, it's a lot tougher. It's definitely a lot tougher.
Right. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but tell me exactly what you
That's
do
okay.
for the business, the small
Okay.
businesses.
Absolutely. So I have a three-pronged approach to the umbrella. First of all, my company's kind of motto is the three C's of me. And it's being a connector, collaborator, and a builder of community. So under that, kind of those three different ideas, I offer content creation and management, like social media management, up to right now 35 different social media platforms, creating the content, doing photo shoots, capturing their stories that they're doing. They'll send me things, and I'll be managing their platforms for them. I'm a
Oh, okay.
business relationship strategist, and what I mean is I now take those companies or take people and go, do you want to build your visibility to gain credibility out there in reality? Well, let's utilize the comment boxes across the social media platforms.
Right.
Right now, Nancy, our credibility and visibility is being built by the words that other people say about us.
Right.
So going and finding those posts that align with what we do. I've got numerous, and I think that's how we met, is we chatted in the same kind of comment boxes across Facebook. And then you said, you know what, this girl's got something. So you're helping me build my visibility and credibility in what I do. Is going and confidently using social media like reality.
Right.
And I often ground people before they go on, is I need you to kind of sit in your chair, position yourself, big deep breath in, close your eyes, breathe a nice big breath like you're standing outside. Now view it like your reality. So if I saw, let's for example, one of my friends in the kitchen that is a business owner in the kitchen with their kids making cookies, and I just happened to walk by and I peeked in the window, would I just go like this to the window? No, I would confidently jump into the comment box and go, "Hey girl, you're making cookies again with your grandkids. What's on the menu today that you're making them?" And it's an opportunity for us to see each other in our greatest moments to build each other's visibility in what we're doing.
Okay.
And then I also teach people the social media skills to be able to do that. So I have a program called Lifting Up, which stands for LinkedIn, Instagram, oh my gosh, my brain is not working today. I'm going to share in a bit on what's exciting happening in my life right now. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and X, or AKA Twitter, or you could use it TikTok. So those are the tools. And then the ING is your intentions. And that's using it correctly, making sure that your story's out there, making sure your truth is out there. The N is the most important one, is your networks. What networks are you tapping into online that you can build, or what networks do you belong to that you can use your reality and bring them online? And ultimately, the G stands for the goals. What is your goals? What is the goal of your community? What is the goal of that person? Because I don't know about you, but I go by the law of attraction that says when we're lifting up each other, the world will lift us up too. And so I teach people how to do that as well.
Okay. So is this like done all online, or do you go like both personally?
Yep.
Like,
Both. If you're in my kind of geographical area, by the way, I live in Aldergrove, British Columbia, Canada, right by the US-Canadian border. It's kind of fun. I often say when I'm talking to my US connections, I can go put one foot in the United States, one foot in Canada, one foot in the United States, one foot in Canada when I go for a walk. Yes. So if you're kind of from, say, Hope to Whistler area, or that area, no problem. I can meet you in person, though I have clients all over the world that I can teach, definitely.
right. So it must have taken you a while to build it up, to get it.
Yes. There was lots of morphing. I like that word morphing and evolution versus the word pivot. It's funny, yesterday I was in a grocery store and I was told to pivot, and I'm like, I'm not a basketball player, so I'm not pivoting. It took a lot to build it up. However, I had to build it within myself first.
Okay.
So I had to, what I did, because I had a bit of luxury before I kind of flipped the switch with my company back in April 1st, 2014, no fooling, April 1st, is I sat back like a customer. And that was always my, let's call it coup de grace. That was always my strong skill set. Whenever I worked for somebody else, the customer was always number one, sometimes to the detriment of paperwork for said company. I always wanted to make sure the customer was well taken care of. So when I got on to wanting to build MYBC Consulting, I went, okay, Jeanette, you're now going to take your business business owner hat off, and you're going to be a customer.
Right.
And so I looked at LinkedIn as what I would as a customer. What as a customer do I want to see? How am I feeling? What's my mindset? Do I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole? What am I doing? Like why as a customer would come on? And then I did the same on Instagram, the same on Facebook, the same on X, the same on Threads. And I continue to look at the different social media platforms. And just FYI, there's 400 different social media platforms, believe it or not.
400.
400. Yeah, because there's some that are intranet, pay per service, like Patreon and the other ones. So there's lots of ways to be social. We tend to kind of pigeonhole ourselves sometimes in the big ones, but there are other ones out there. Right. And that was the key piece, is being able to sit back and, Jeanette, teach yourself, how are you behaving? What, like I said, the big one, what's your mindset? When I go onto Facebook, what am I going on there for? And that's what I teach the business owner to. You think you're going on that these social media platforms are about marketing? They're not. It's a platform, it's a tool to build a story to bring people along.
Okay.
And there's a couple of key pieces when I teach about social media, and this is maybe, shocking to some when you hear this. And I go, take the beat of your heart of your business that drives you every day to get up and do what you do. And I said, I need you to take that and stick it to the most intelligent part of your brain.
Mhm.
Is nobody, but nobody, but nobody goes onto social media to buy stuff.
Okay.
They don't. I don't. If I need a new coffee, I don't go onto Facebook to research about coffee. I want to try a new coffee. Or if I need a pink fuzzy sweater, I don't go onto LinkedIn to find my pink fuzzy sweater.
Right.
No, what I do go on to social media is to be part of someone's story that trust in truth.
We're having a little problem with your sound.
Then I
Sorry,
will
sorry
go,
to interrupt you.
sorry.
We're having little problems with your sound every once in a while. It's cutting out. So
Oh,
you
it's
might have
it's
to
because it's
repeat.
raining. You know what? I'm gonna stop. Okay, that's okay. Just to loop back, I'm gonna stop moving my hands because sometimes that interrupts my Wi-Fi, my
Okay.
signal here. Is that we don't go on to social media to buy something. Like I don't go on to look and research on Facebook my new pink fuzzy sweater,
Right.
or I'm going on a trip. I don't go on there. I go on to social media to find the truth and trust on how that business is unpacking their process. Because the other thing, and now you're going to take this to the smartest part of your brain and throw it down to your heart to keep it beating for your business, is the process of your product or service being created and served to the public more value than the end result. So if you consistently go, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit, I'm not in the market for buying stuff. I am always, as a human being, in the subconscious of the selling relationship building process, want to know about a story. I feel justified looking at Facebook or LinkedIn or looking at the pretty pictures on Instagram or TikTok to go, oh, I'm learning about the human condition. I'm being educated, wink, wink, and I don't feel like I'm wasting my lifetime currency. So the more that you unpack the truth on how you do what you do, that's what I buy into as a consumer. And case in point, when I teach for the Fraser Valley Continuing Ed, their social media classes, and there was an incredible artist there learning about my Instagram. And she said, I'm just not getting any sales off of Instagram. I'm like, okay, let's bring up your social media site. Or her Instagram site, I brought it up on my big screen. And I'm like scrolling through, and I said, first of all, as a lover of art, as you can see Nancy behind, I love art, that you're stunning art. And she goes, oh, thank you so much. And I said, one first thing is the number one, you're making the viewer work too hard to learn about you. And she's like, what? So the commentary underneath, when you give a bunch of the stats, my picture is 24 by 36. It's framed on camera, whatever it is. I said, you're making me trying to figure out that $5,000 picture is how big? But if you hung it over a couch and make it relative, and I can kind of go, oh, that couch is 6 feet long, a normal couch is 6 feet long. Wow, that piece is really big. So making it relative, or if you've got a very tiny piece of art, you put like a quarter beside it. Everybody knows the size of a quarter, so I can kind of know, wow, she did all of that tiny work and it's, $2,000. And she says, oh, I said, you've got to help me visualize what it looks like. Second, I said, so if you're ever working on a piece and you're painting, and you're painting and you kind of go, where your stuff is, and you put your brush back and it all falls over. And she goes, yeah, it happens all the time. I said, you have to show that because our mistakes, our processes unpack to what it took to make that painting. Or I'll say, How about this idea? You decide you're going to make a new piece. You show the back of your empty truck, or you show in your daytimer, first picture, going to get my supplies. Okay. Then you show the back empty of your truck. Then you show that you go to Opus and you get all your frame and your paint. Then you show you've got to go get an easel from over here. Then you show you're going to go get your new jars to put all your paintbrushes in. You show 10 steps before that first brush ever hits the canvas. And then you say, you know, this one took me 10,000 hours or 500 hours to make. And you've already showed all of it's not just in the painting.
Right. Yeah.
It's in my creation. And then the person's like, wow, she did all of that and it only took 500 hours. I'm getting away cheap. I'm getting away with that story cheap.
Right.
So that's what I teach.
Okay. I was just kind of, you know, when you're talking about like that, I was just thinking about Temu. How many Temu, however you pronounce it, you know, that Temu fails.
Yeah.
And it's like people will order a couch and ends up being this big, you know,
Right.
sofa. And it's because they're just showing a picture. They're not showing where it is or anybody sitting in it or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's their big mistake. Is I say, I get it. Okay, it makes a lot of sense.
And it does. And it's much like on social media as well, is when you're looking at it, could you see now? Put yourself, we have this uncanny ability, Nancy, to take ourselves to anywhere in the world without moving our bum.
Right.
By looking at other people's posts. So if we were to post this picture, or if I post this picture and you're like, huh, Jeanette's made a picture. Are you looking at my face? Great to see the expression. But if you sell art, a fuzzy blanket, daytimers, organizational baskets, a big, you know, printer ink for my big ass printer that sits over here. Why are you not interacting on my post? Why are you not saying, hey, you look like you had a really funky office. Oh, have a great Monday. Not sell me something. Bring your profile into a comment. And then I take a look and go, well, why did that person comment about my funky office? Or it looks like you surround yourself with beautiful things from, you know, your treasures. And then I go take a look at their profile and go, oh, they make fuzzy blankets. So they were attracted to my fuzzy blanket. All of a sudden I feel warm and squishy that someone's seeing me. And then maybe if we have a little kind of conversation, or I go, oh, thank you so much. Hey, I looked at your profile and you got fuzzy blankets. Is that why you showed up with me? So we're having that conversation. If that person walked into my house and that was our commonality, that we could have that small talk with before we lead to big business.
Right. So how many different types of businesses, like, okay, I don't even know what question to ask, but exactly how to phrase it. But you must have a lot of different kind of businesses,
Yes.
but it doesn't matter, right? Like what it is they're trying to promote or sell or whatever, right? The basics are all the same.
Right, because relationship building is relationship building, because you're building the relationship with the human behind the product or service first, always, last, and forever.
Right.
So I have a notary that I work with. I have a real estate agent I work with. I have many different nonprofits that I work with. I have a high-end clothing company that I work with. Who else I have? Oh, actually two real estate agents. I have an auto body shop. I have a thrift store that I work with, because it's all posting to meet the human need of feeling like I'm part of your story and I matter to you. I matter to you, that when I exchange my precious life currency, because that ultimately, Nancy, is the number one value we all have, more than the zeros and number ones in our bank account and all the rest of that jazz, that when somebody chooses to show up on your profile on a post, they've exchanged their precious 10, 15 seconds, minute, whatever that post took to make, create, read, engage with, and give you a thumbs up. Why aren't you coming back and saying, thank you so much for reading my post? Do you want to know where your customers are? They're hiding behind their emojis. They're hiding behind the thumbs up, the hearts. Yeah, that's a whole other thing that I teach about. Emojis are real people too. And that's because, yeah, in this day and age, think about it, is the emoji came to be because of that emotional response. People are afraid to use their words
Hmm.
because it lives on in infamy. You know, you put up
Yes.
a comment on something and I'm going to get judged by my spelling or give a heart face. Well, that means a real life person picked up their finger
Mm.
and pushed the button. So how about you as a business come back and connect that little smiley face back to the finger, back to the hand, back to the arm, back to the heart, back to the emotion. And I teach somebody how to do that, much like when somebody comes into your place of business, brick and mortar, and they look around and they're in awe. Wow. Do you stand behind your counter, your desk, and go, no, you get off your ass, you come around from your desk, you greet them at whatever they're
Mm.
looking at and say, first of all, thank you so much for coming into my store today. What brought you in? And you build relationship. Well,
Right.
that's the same. It's that I teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, because I think we've all experienced where you've gone into a store and wanting some service and you're standing around and waiting and waiting and waiting and you're being ignored, right?
Yep.
And I think, well, why would I want to go back there?
What I call that, Nancy, unfortunately, the Costco self-service society
Hmm.
that we have disconnected ourselves from, that the other thing I do is brand ambassadorships, and I'm a brand builder for different food companies. And that's where I go and I set up my table, take social media, feedback about the product that I'm demoing, build that relationship with the managers or the purchaser of that particular company, do the
Right.
reports and all the rest of that jazz. Well, I get so many people that come by my table and they'll just grab the sample and walk away. And I'll go, hey, do you not want to know what you're putting in your face? And it's like, oh, it's just, how do you know that it could be something that you're allergic to? How do you know that it could be really, really, and I have a spicy, I lost my internet there for a second. Like, how do you know that it's not spicy? Like, how do you know that it's like really oily or whatever texture because then you eat it and you're like, ooh, and I'm like, well, I didn't educate you. And then you would have appreciated it, and it wouldn't have been an ooh, it would have been a wow.
Right.
So, and it's so true, is we're so used to doing things for ourselves that when we go into a store, and to me, when you go into your independent stores, that's where you think you would get the highest customer service. And it's like, it's a destination. That's the other thing, is we've lost this whole thought process of when we get in our cars and choose to go to the mall to quote unquote look around, or we choose to go, we're making that conscious choice to go to a destination.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I just don't go in my car and drive around and go, oh, there's a store I'm going to pull in.
Yeah.
I consciously I'm going to go to that store. Maybe I've done a little bit of research online, and that a lot of store owners right now will switch on, oh, that customer's only showboating or showrooming me, which they're coming in, I make the mug, blah, blah, blah. They're going to feel it. They're going to touch it. They're going to whatever with it and go and put it down and go order it online. Well, you miss the opportunity that if it's in their hand already, and tell them, why did you keep picking up that mug? Where did you get the information? You look like you know more about that cup than I know myself.
Right.
And you start building it like, well, you could take that cup home today and not wait for the box to come to your house. And we could probably, you know what? I got coffee in the back. We could even taste it after, we're not building that relationship to the heart with that person that chooses to get into their car and drive to your store. They've got a buying. They've got something
Yeah.
in mind. You just got to build it with them and build it out of them.
Right. So now just changing it a little bit. I'm just wondering, how many hours a day do you think you work? Do you have like a set time?
No, no.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur, also I'm a dog mom.
Okay.
So we get up at anywhere from 6:30 to quarter to 7, and we do have our little ritual feeding, and I'll work for a couple of hours and then take him out to do his little business and give me a break, and I call it my dog yoga, is where I get present as looking down, concentrating on what he's doing, what he's looking at, the trees, the whatever, versus still trying to keep my mind going. I would say I work, it could be 8 to 9 hours chunked out during the day.
Mhm.
I work 7 days a week, and that for my mental health, having worked for retail, where it's like you're there for 8 hours, 9 hours, you're punching in, you're punching out, you're expected to show up and all the rest. That wasn't good for my mental health
Mhm.
because I believe in the flow of creativity and the flow of task and the flow of the end result.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work 7 days a week. I could be, content creating as I'm snuggled in on my couch with my puppy beside me at 10 o'clock at night and planning out and scheduling out and, I tend to do my relationship building on my customers' platforms on their Facebook. I'll go onto their Facebook page and look through the scroll. And if one of the businesses that they follow, so that B2B businessing or business to business relationship building, is I'll scroll their feed and look and go, oh, Joe's Pizza Joint, who you follow, who's in your, your geographical area where you sell to, they're celebrating a new team member. So I'll jump into the comment box as that company and go, hey, I just, came across your post that you've got a new employee, your business is really growing, woo, 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 and then that business owner gets that notification. They go, wow, look at that business celebrating me versus a follower, a customer. Another business is excited for my progress. And that's what I'll tend to do at nighttime, because at nighttime, we tend to have our devices in our hands while we're binge watching something on TV. And in real time, you could get that alert. And then it almost feels like we're in a real time relationship building conversation.
So where do you see your business going, say, in the next 5 years, for example? Like, do you think there's going to be lots
The next 5 years?
Pardon?
Yeah. I've got a good plan. Well, being the age that I am, and I had a conversation with another company that I know and respect really well this past Saturday, is it's time to leave the legacy and build for the next generation.
Okay.
And having been in the trades before, I was a senior project manager for a hardwood floor company, and the trade of installing hardwood floors is a dying art. There's not many people getting into the trades. That's a whole other conversation we can have. Is we both want, so in 5 years, I can see us having a school, so to speak, where we're training brand ambassadors to help represent companies, to have that feeling that you are, for that 4 hours, the owner of that company, instead of going, want to sample. No, that you're engaging, the product inside out, backwards and stuff like that. So that's number one.
Right.
In 5 years is having that legacy piece. Number two is hitting the world stages and talking about how to build a brand by building relationships first.
Right.
So that legacy project. And then I'm also one of the co-founders and the creator of the Gratitude and Appreciation Summits International. And that started in 2019, and we've had a couple of virtual. And my other co-founder and I, we would love, Kathy Fester, we would love to hit town halls all over North America and set up these little come together and learn about gratitude, learn about appreciation. Do you have a tool that you use to show appreciation? Do you have an appreciation story you can share? So that's in 5 years in a big RV, hitting the towns, doing these summits.
Right. I'm running out of time. I just got a notice here. Let me just get this out of my face there. I don't know if you could see it, but it just says I'm running out of time. It's been a really, really, really interesting conversation, because I just see what the practicality of what you're teaching, right, to people, businesses. It just all makes sense to me. And now, before we end it, now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what is the best way to do that?
Type in my name, Jeanette Y. Martin, into Mr. Google. or MYBC Consulting. And I didn't tell you, Nancy, what that MYBC stands for. A lot of people may think, because I live in British Columbia, it stands for My British Columbia. No, it doesn't. It stands for the Move Your Bum Chum Consulting Company. And much like anything in this world, as you know and I know, you don't get anything in this life unless you move your bum chum.
Yeah.
So I help, and it's nice and it's tongue in cheek. So I help business owners move their bum chum in order to mirror what they've built in reality online. So that's that. Or you type in MyBC Consulting. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, my website. I'm on Substack. I'm on Reddit. You'll find me. You'll definitely find. That's the other thing. I live in truth and I live a very transparent life.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, we'll end there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. I just wanted to share too, is tomorrow I'm heading to Kenya for 2 weeks. I believe as a good business owner, you need to give back. And that's part of that legacy. I'm going to work with a group called Life Positive Kenya for 2 weeks, working with women, business owners, entrepreneurs that are living with AIDS and HIV. And I could be making candles. I could be teaching them what I teach, just going with a helping hand to make their dreams come true. So that's tomorrow.
Fantastic. That's a great way to end the show. So just stay on camera for a second. And to the audience, you've been listening to Jeanette Martin. I will include her email address, by the way, or her Facebook page. Well, you can find her on Facebook because it's easy enough to do. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. I really hope you continue to do so. Take care, everybody, and peace out.